Well, the games for next week are set, and the first one up, the one I'm most excited about and terrified about, is none other than the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. The Battle of the Bees, the Battle of the MVPs, whatever you want to call it, it's here. The match that everybody is going to be watching this weekend, I believe. I would like to think everybody watch all the games this weekend, but if somebody had to tune into one, this is the one. And I don't know what time it's going to be. I hope it's a primetime game.
It's the Sunday night game, my friend.
There we go. That's what we wanted, because Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, in the spotlight, the MVP candidates going head-to-head. There is no better television. I know you have a graphic that you want to talk about. I know there's a lot you want to say, and I'm going to give the floor to you, but I just want to say, on behalf of the Buffalo Bills organization, we're ready for you.
Okay, so I actually don't have a ton to say. I do want to talk about the matchup. Before we get there, I've just got the numbers. Again, numbers don't mean anything necessarily. This isn't an NBA.
Yeah, but they're fun. They're fun to look at.
They're fun to look at. It's we know the Ravens blew the Bills out earlier in the season. That was in Baltimore. What's going to change? Here's the stats of the teams as we look into it.
Josh Allen said post-game that he's going to be watching a lot of film of that defense, okay?
Well, I hope so. Somebody needs to.
He's obviously skipped it a few weeks ago.
Yeah, he missed it that week. The numbers, as you see, pass offense, Ravens get the edge. Rush offense, Ravens are first in the league. Bills are ninth. Offensive points per game, second for the Bills, third for the Ravens. So we're all real close there offensively. Starts to break down a little bit on the defense, though. 24th pass defense for the Bills, 31st for the Ravens. Here's what I think might be the game, Ryan. The Ravens have the number one rush defense in the league. The Buffalo Bills have the 12th ranked rush defense in the league, and that's even a little generous. Points allowed a game, 9th for the Ravens, 11th for the Bills. So I kind of think the matchup in this game, and then we can talk into and just see how we feel. I think it's going to come down to, is Buffalo's defense going to be able to stop the run? Baltimore could have beaten Pittsburgh without throwing a pass. They ran like 16 times in a row. This is the first time we've seen the Ravens with Derrick Henry. I feel okay about the Bills' secondary, even with the, injuries like a talent, whatever. I feel like Sean McDermott will have something cooked up that they'll be able to manage the passing game, even if Zay Flowers returns. I am really, really concerned about the Bills being gashed on the ground because we've seen it in the past. We kind of saw it last year in the Kansas City playoff game. Kansas City was really getting rolling on the ground against Buffalo. Do you think Buffalo can stop the run or limit it? Because to me, if they can't, that's the ball game.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're going to have to. There is no winnable game where we don't, okay? And I know that you put up this graphic and you said that, the Ravens have the number one rush offense. Well, yeah, they have probably one of the greatest, second best this year running backs behind Lamar Jackson with Derrick Henry. And they're number one in rushing in the rush offense. And that's, in my opinion, it's them and the Eagles, and they're neck and neck.
Yes.
But after that, even the next place down, which would technically be third place, there's a far gap in between. Like, those two teams run the ball more efficiently than any team I've probably ever seen, at least in the last 10 years, man. It is crazy how good the Ravens are at designing plays for Derrick Henry, and the amount of speed that man can get at his age and his size is ridiculous.
He looks like he's on a mission, too.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he's stiff-arming people into Uranus, okay?
He's stiff-arming former teammates.
I don't even want to talk about it. Out of all the teams in the league, or at least in the AFC, this is the one I did not want to play. Okay?
Of course. We were on a collision course for this game. This is where it was going.
I know. We're going to have to stop Derrick Henry, so this is what I would do. All right? I know everybody's going to call me and ask me, hey, Ryan, look, we need a defensive game plan. Hello. This is Sean McDermott. I was wondering if you would perhaps have any idea of what we could do against the Ravens. Sean, I'm so glad you called. I've been thinking about this for the last 10 seconds since I got over the fact that you just called me. Stop Derrick Henry at all cost. I don't care if Lamar Jackson gashes us for 20 or 30 yards every now and then. I agree
with this.
I don't care if Lamar Jackson throws a touchdown pass to Zay Flowers in an insanely dynamic and dialed-in pass. I don't care if that happens. Do not let Derrick Henry control the clock and then also get over 120 yards on us, because we cannot win with that situational outcome.
I agree.
We have
I agree
a great shot at winning if we just shut down the run from Derrick Henry. That's it. That's all we have to do. I don't care if we have to battle them out because I think we could go air to air with them, no problem. But if they start controlling that clock like the Ravens are so good at doing and start gashing us on the ground with Derrick Henry, buddy, we got no shot.
No, I'm with you. And I think you kind of saw that from the Steelers, even though they didn't have a fight. It seemed like anytime they ran an RPO where it could have been Jackson or Henry, Watt would crash in on Henry. They were selling out saying, we're going to stop Henry. I agree. I think that's kind of the game plan. I think you have to go in and say, we can't take them both away, and we probably can't take Lamar away because he can run and pass. We have to try to stop Derrick Henry because Henry can only do one. He can run really well. Lamar Jackson can run really well and pass really well. I know this seems like a simplified breakdown, but you're facing such a dynamic team with a roster that probably doesn't match up. Talking about defensively, the Buffalo Bills defensive roster does not match up to the Ravens offensively. So you're going to have to scheme around it. I'm interested to see how McDermott does that, how he implements his scheme into his plan, because we know he always has really creative schemes in these playoff games. He's a great defensive coach, but you have to focus on one. I agree. Henry's the one. You got to limit him. You cannot have him get into the third, fourth quarter with 80, 90, 100 yards because he's going to just keep wearing you down and break the game open.
Yeah, and I know we're spending a little bit more time on this than probably the rest of them we will.
No, this is the game.
This is the one.
These are both of these teams could win the Super Bowl.
And if the conversation continued and he said, hey, while you're at it, if you could just give us a little pointers on offense too, this is what I would say. Well, since we've stopped Derrick Henry now and we forced Lamar Jackson to throw the ball and have a better potential of him making a mistake through the air and us turning over the ball, if we get one turnover from Lamar Jackson, I think we win the game. Just going out on a limb and saying that, okay? Secondly, on the offensive side, Sean, this is what we have to do. We have to stop playing like we're on fire, okay? The Bills have a hard time at controlling clock. They seem to just hit those big gash plays. They hurry up to the line. They snap the ball. It's like they don't breathe. It's like they're just on this pendulum that just keeps going and going and going and go. Like, calm down, take some time, let the play clock dial down a little bit, and let's get some minutes on the clock shaved off.
Well, I agree with that premise in general. I think it's kind of the same premise you see people kind of take when they play Patrick Mahomes or even when they play Josh Allen. You want to slow the game down.
Yes.
James Cook, I think to win this game, James Cook has to be a big factor.
I love that they kind of rested him a little bit toward the end of the game. And hey, kudos to the Bills for not looking past the Broncos, okay? I thought
especially early in that game.
I thought at first when you had texted me, I'd just gotten out of church and you said, hey, the Broncos are winning. I'm like, uh-oh. Like, did we do what we always do? We look past this week to go on to the next. I'm glad that the Bills actually settled back down, and then they won the game pretty handily after that.
Yeah, for sure. They were definitely prepared. They did what they needed to do. I believe if this game turns into a shootout, then I think Buffalo would like this game more as a shootout than the Ravens would, interestingly enough, because if it turns into a shootout, blow for blow, back and forth, then I think the Bills would be in a good position. I think the Ravens would be fine too. Honestly, the thing I'm interested to see, and I don't know if this will happen, what does the game look like if Buffalo goes up by 2 scores? Because that's the situation where we see the Ravens in the past, even last year in the playoffs,
make the mistakes.
They start to get antsy. They start to make mistakes. They start to go away from the run. Lamar starts to, look inside himself and doubt himself. And this is the moment. We've said it. I know Lamar looked great against the Steelers. That's fine. He looked great against the Texans last year. That doesn't count. The wild card weekend is irrelevant. What is Lamar going to look like? He has not had a dominant elite playoff performance other than the wild card weekend. Can he deliver it? Because he has to. The winner of this game is going to Arrowhead. Lamar's trying to get that monkey off his back. And in an interesting, change of pace on the other side, Josh Allen's monkey that he's got to get off his back is next week. He's got to get to Arrowhead and defeat Patrick Mahomes, but he's got to get past Lamar Jackson first. If the Ravens get down, are they going to start to crumble, or are they going to be able to fight through unlike they have in the past?
Last thing, what I'm hoping happens is that the Ravens are so confident because of how bad they beat the Bills earlier in the season that they go into this game a little ill-prepared, or at least underprepared for what the Bills are ready to bring, because the Bills got better as the year went on and they started to develop even more and get more in sync with each other.
This isn't the same Bills team that got blown out earlier.
Not at all.
It's just
not at all. So I'm hoping that happens, but also, like you pointed out, when you look at the record in the playoffs, Josh Allen is a beast in the playoffs. I mean, he is so good. He's much better than Lamar Jackson when it comes to record in the playoffs.
100%.
Hands down. And so I think that matters a lot. I think that that's something that Lamar could get a little antsy about, because he knows he has to put up or shut up. And Josh Allen's going to come into this thing, I hope, especially since it's technically a home game, really calm and ready to play some good football and beat Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens.
Who do you think wins?
I can't turn my back on the Bills this late in the season, man. Give me Josh Allen and those Billies all the way.
I agree. I'm going with Josh Allen until I see it from Lamar. I'm leaning with the Bills. Could go either way, and then we'll talk about that conference championship match.